The following program is a special presentation brought to you by WXOW 19.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Countdown to Kickoff. We'll get you set over the next half hour for the upcoming high school football season. The Friday night lights are ready to shine brightly once again, and we'll have team previews, feature stories, and update you on some changes as well. We begin with a story about the defending state champs. Aquinas is looking forward, not back, when it comes to defending the Division 5 state title. But the Blue Golds are borrowing one secret to their success from last season. Yeah, the coach's wife, Dylan Siraki, has more.
Yeah, Scott. Michelle Lee has implemented a new training program at Aquinas, one that's been key to keeping the Blue Golds on the field.
Do it again. So start and bring it in slow.
Consider Michelle Lee a secret weapon on the Aquinas football training staff. For the past 2 years, the wife of Blue Golds head coach Tom Lee has been leading players in reflexive performance resets, or RPRs, at the end of each practice.
We'll test someone's muscles or flexibility, then we'll do the movement, and then we'll redo it again to assess, okay, did it work? And it does, but the people have to hit the correct spot and push hard enough. It's phenomenal.
It's just some interesting stuff. It's like witchcraft almost. Like I don't know how it works, but the stuff that Coach Michelle does is amazing, and she's been a real benefit to our team.
What players describe as witchcraft is really just the latest in health research. Michelle, who works as a personal trainer, says the science behind RPRs is pretty complex. The basic idea, though, is to combine pressure point exercises with breathing and neurological drills to increase range of motion for athletes.
I try to really explain it and get it to their level.
I think it's the future, that the direction that the sport is going. You know, there was a time where football players, don't give them water because that'll toughen them up. You know, just eat a salt tablet. There was a time where, you know, tackle in practice every day, or run till their legs fall off, and that means you're going to be in better shape when it's like the sport has evolved, and I think this is really the next step, the next evolution.
The biggest benefit to Aquinas has been injury prevention. During last year's run to the Division 5 state title, the Blue Golds had only 2 players miss time with concussions. That's the fewest they've ever had since Coach Lee took over the program.
You know, I think to win a championship, you gotta be 3 things. You gotta be good, you gotta be lucky, and you gotta be healthy. And we were incredibly healthy. You know, we want to get everybody to Friday nights. If we can get everybody to Friday nights, we got a shot. What we did and what she's done has helped us get everybody to Friday nights on a regular basis.
Now I want you to bring your arms behind you.
While some were skeptical at first, players have come around when it comes to completing the exercises.
We love having her out here because she's a spitfire. I mean, she has a great attitude all the time, and really helps the team out.
Michelle Lee has also done RPR training with a couple of local college teams, including UWL and Winona State. Scott?
Thanks, Dylan. We'll check back in with the Blue Golds a bit later. Let's shift now to the MVC for our season previews, and we'll start on the north side with the Logan Rangers. Casey Noble's crew will have to replace about a dozen seniors from last year. The Rangers return about 10 starters, including Johnny Lever, who will make the switch from receiver to quarterback this season.
I think the biggest thing is just building a winning culture. We have to, every single practice, play it like we're going to do it in the game, and we have to finish full games because last year we would start games and play really well, but then come out of halftime flat, and then it would be over by then. So we need to just play complete games and have full practices.
In order for us to make the playoffs, a team like us, we have to be able to play both ways. We have to be tough, never get tired, and we're just gonna battle for 4 quarters. I think that I got a group of guys that are gonna do that.
Across town, Central has close to 100 players out for football, and that's a good thing because they will have to replace a very talented senior class from a year ago. But another batch of roughly 20 seniors is ready to build off last season's 7-3 record and playoff appearance. Mason Nelson takes over as the quarterback on a team that averaged 32 points a game last season. Central expecting more of the same this fall.
We've got guys ready to go. You know, anytime you lose a good senior class, you're always kind of wondering what you're going to have in return, but we know what we have with this senior class. It's a good group of athletes that love football, and you know they come out here and compete. They came out day one with a lot of energy, and we're just going to sustain that.
We're focusing right now on just like the little things in practice. I obviously don't expect everybody to be knowing everything to do on the first day. Obviously just getting better, a little bit better each day, 1% better each day.
Offense is never in short supply down Alaska. The Hilltoppers led the conference in passing yards last season. Junior Adam Skifton is taking the reins at quarterback. He's got plenty of playmakers to work with, but don't be surprised if the Hilltoppers put a greater emphasis on the running game. They're aiming for an offense that's not overly reliant on making plays through the air.
If you want to win in November, you're going to have to run the ball. So we're going to have to learn to run the ball, find a way to run the ball. But we have some pretty talented kids outside, and we know that. This might be one of our more talented receiving crews. I don't know if it's 2016 level, but it's close. So we are going to throw the ball, but we're going to find a way to run it at the same time.
I think we'll really air it out along with the running game. Our running game will be really good this year. We got a good old line, and I think we'll do great both on the ground and in the air.
Holman is looking for a bounce-back season after going 3-6 last year. The Vikings have a record 130 kids out for the team this year. Competition is tight for starting spots. Who sees the field could come down to the fundamentals. Limiting mistakes has been a focus of the offseason.
We got to get better at the small things. Last year we had a lot of mistakes. We had 27 turnovers in 9 games. You're not going to win football games doing that, so we're going back to the small little fundamentals and making sure we hit those as we come through practice every day. When the scoreboard's done ticking at the end of the game, if we do those things right, we're usually on the better end of the equation.
So we've been through a lot of adversity with each other, and I feel like we got a lot of team camaraderie. So this season we should be very tight-knit, and I'm hoping to lead us to a pretty successful season.
Well, after a bit of a down year in 2021, Sparta head football coach Adam Dow has reason for optimism this fall. The Spartans have about 90 guys on the roster. That's an improvement from the past few seasons. Some key pieces, including junior signal caller Thomas Laufenberg, are holdouts from last year's starting lineup, but there's plenty of open spots at other positions, and young guys will compete for playing time.
I think, anytime we can get in that 80 to 100 number, we can be competitive with some of the bigger schools in our conference. And right now with the 90, it's pretty good numbers for us. A lot of youth right now, but really our focus is getting the kids reps, getting them game time experience, and really just finding out who wants to play.
In Toma, third-year head coach Joe Protz says his guys are eager to put their 0-9 season from last year behind them. Some returning players have a chip on their shoulder heading into the opener. They're hoping to channel some of that frustration that comes from a winless season into some energy on the football field.
We're hungry. Like I tell the players, there's no rear view. We're not looking back on last year. It's this year. It's a new season, new players, new energy, new effort. So just, give everything you got. And we got a lot of players that played a lot of varsity football last year as sophomores, come back as juniors, and a good group of seniors. So we're just excited to see what we have this year.
Football conferences are constantly changing in Wisconsin, too. This year, there are some big changes for the MVC and the Coulee. This is how the MVC looked last season, with River Falls and West Salem finishing at the top of the conference. Both those teams are out this year. River Falls heads back to the Big Rivers. Coming into the MVC is Reedsburg and Baraboo, former members of the Badger Small Conference. Meanwhile, the Coulee Conference, which added Aquinas and Altoona back in 2019, is now bringing back West Salem, which last played in the Coulee in 2013. So the Coulee now back up to 8 teams and should be very competitive. That's a good group there. Still to come, we'll preview the Coulee Conference, plus visit with a couple of former area coaches who are headed to the Hall of Fame. We're back in a flash. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. A few weeks ago, next year's WFCA Hall of Fame inductees were announced, and a couple of familiar faces were on the list. News 19's Colton Emsweiler spoke with them and tells us that their decades of hard work and loyalty has paid off.
Coaching can be a stressful job, but doing it well for a long time can get you some special recognition, as is the case with former GET football coach John Steffenhagen and Bangor's Rick Mullenberg. After lengthy and successful careers, both were named to the Wisconsin Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame class of 2023, something that was hard for the duo to put into words.
I was just got done mowing the yard, and I got a call from a number in Platteville that I did not know, and then I got a voicemail from John Hoke, which used to be the head coach at Lancaster, and now he's the chair of the Hall of Fame. And when he told me, I just kind of broke down. It's kind of an emotional guy, and it was kind of a big day. Very surprised and very humbled.
It's really an honor. It really is. It's not something you think about when you first start. You just want to make it through the day. And then after that first year, you hope to get a second year, you know, and you don't think about Hall of Fame or things like that. You keep trying to improve what you're doing. And when I received the call, I wouldn't say it was shocking, but it was just surprising. But I guess when I look back on it, for those guys to recognize that, it says that we did a lot of the right things here.
For nearly 5 decades between them, the pair patrolled the sidelines for the Red Hawks and Cardinals. Now in retirement, that competitive drive is something they dearly miss.
Once Friday night was over, it was awesome. I had a real hard time dealing with the stress from time to time leading up to pregame, but you know, once you were on the field and things started going, and after that first kickoff, you just kind of got in your zone, and that's the thing I missed the most.
And like society, the game itself evolves over time. While their coaching methods varied depending on the era they were in, some things were also there to stay.
You know, great defense never goes out of style. I don't think it ever will. There's different offenses that, you know, that get things done, and there's been an evolution there with a little more spread teams and things like that. But overall for us, it was mainly our strength and conditioning practices, nutrition, and recovery.
But what's the Hall of Fame without the hardware? In 2015, Muhlenberg led his troop to a state championship, repeating that feat just 2 years later. Add those accomplishments with that of Coach Stephen Hagen, who had 10 Cooley Conference titles in his career, and it's no wonder that these former teammates at UWL will become enshrined in the Hall of Fame together. For News 19 Sports, I'm Colton Emsweiler.
Thanks, Colton. Let's continue our conference previews. It's back to the Cooley Conference this year for West Salem. The Panthers were one of the top teams in the MVC in 2021, finishing with a 6-1 conference record. Head coach Justin Yang brings in an experienced group to the Cooley. The Panthers expect to compete for the conference title right away. Quarterback Brett McConkey leads a strong senior class that has star players on both sides of the ball.
We expect that we're able to be playoff qualifiers and then make a run in the playoffs. I think the leadership and the seniors coming back in this group really make this group different. I think regardless of the conference that we would be in, our expectations are pretty high because of the fact that we've got a lot of experience and good leadership in this group coming back.
I'm excited for it. I think playing schools more closer to our size will be fun. It'll still be a challenge. I think we can compete well there.
Aquinas will have a target on its back from week 1 as the Blue Golds look to defend the Division 5 state title. Now the cupboard isn't bare for the Blue Golds. Star QB Jackson Flottmeyer is back, while speedy wideout Colin Konzemius is expected to step into a bigger role on offense. During the offseason, players were banned from wearing championship gear on the practice field or in the weight room. It's clear the Blue Golds are trying to stay in the present.
That'll always be important, but it has no bearing on what's going to happen this season. And it could, though, if that's all we keep thinking about. Our message is that was great, but that was last year. So it's this year's team, and it's their turn to figure out what they're going to be, what their legacy is going to be.
We're focusing on 2022 now. As you know, guys are coming in. We don't want guys to think, oh, we're champions, so we could slack off. That's not how Aquinas football is going to be. We're trying to build a culture here as, hey, we're coming here to work hard. Even if we won last year, let's go get another one.
In Arcadia, the Raiders lost a lot of seniors from a team that went 6-1 in the Cooley. Even so, they bring back a lot of players with varsity experience. Most of that experience comes at the skill positions, where the Raiders hope to take advantage of their talent.
We're trying to spread the offense out a little bit more, try to get some players in space. You know, probably won't be under center as much. So, you know, a little bit different look, but we'll try to still keep with our schemes and our offensive schemes. So the guys they've been picking up quick because they haven't been confused at all because the schemes are the same.
And down the Lutefisk Highway we go to Westby. The Norsemen coming off a season in which they qualified for the playoffs. They returned 13 starters, 6 on offense and 7 on defense. Those players will help forge the team's identity as Westby tries to stay in the upper half of the Cooley.
This year we're really fast and physical, and I think that teams aren't going to expect us to be as quick and powerful as we are, and we're just going to go out there and show them we hit hard.
The predictions came out, we were going to be 5th in the conference or something. That's not going to happen.
And there's a new field general at GET. Longtime assistant Paul Anderson takes over as head coach. He inherits a squad that finished just 1-8 last season, but brings back 16 out of 22 starters from a year ago. Anderson says the Redhawks plan to return to a smash mouth style of football. And more from GET in a moment. Now in Viroqua, Taylor Henry takes over as head coach of the Blackhawks. It's a program that's looking for a jolt after going just 1-15 over the last 2 seasons. Viroqua opens a season at Dodgeville. In Black River Falls, another first-year head coach, Adam Yurkovsky. The Tigers were just 2-7 last season, but they did average 23 points a game. Black River Falls will play Nakusa in their opener. Still to come, you've heard me talk about first-year head coaches. What does it take to get a program going? We'll look into that and more after this timeout. Well, the key to any football program isn't just the players on the field, it's also the guys who draw the X's and O's. A couple of local teams looked inward to fill coaching vacancies this offseason. Other teams wanted a more drastic change. Dylan Saraki has the scoop on some of the area's first-year head coaches.
I don't know if a 360 is good enough or fast enough.
Paul Anderson has been with GET football for 14 seasons, spending much of that time learning from legendary head coach John Steffenhagen. Now it's his turn to step into the spotlight. Anderson expects it to be a smooth transition.
I'm familiar with the program and what it was in the past and what we did, so we're kind of going back to what we did those years prior.
As the former freshman coach, Anderson has already worked with most of the Redhawks varsity athletes.
They know what's expected and kind of my personality and what I like to do as far as offensively and things like that.
If anything's dumped in there, you just go fall on it, okay?
It's a similar story over at Luther, where longtime assistant Jeff Comey takes over for Matt Schiebel. The Knights are coming off their first playoff berth since 2007, so the first-year head coach doesn't plan to reinvent the wheel.
Being the head coach this year, try to keep things fairly consistent, maybe just put my own spin on a few things as well. We had a lot of really good things in place, really thankful for that. And really just kind of putting maybe my personality, interject that a little bit in there too, and trying to really lean on my experience.
Ready, set, hit!
Across the river, in La Crescent, a new coach will mean plenty of change. Terry Donovan is in to lead the Lancers after serving as offensive coordinator at Casson Manterville for over a decade.
There it is, good.
La Crescent needs a football identity following an 0-9 showing last fall, and Donovan plans to rebuild the program from the ground up.
They have been on board for it. They want to be part of something special and something great, and that has been maybe because of the struggles that we've had has made that they are as wide open to change as possible, and they are selling out to that change like you wouldn't even believe.
All 3 coaches say they're looking forward to seeing what their teams can do in their first year at the helm. Going from sideline to sideline in the Cooley region, Dylan Saraki, News 19 Sports.
All right, thanks, Dylan. Speaking of Jeff Comey and the Luther Knights, they have 14 starters back, but dual threat QB Dylan Yang, who was the Knights' leading passer and rusher a year ago, has gone to graduation. Finding some offensive playmakers to step up in his place could be key to Luther's success. After a taste of the postseason, the Knights are eager for more.
I'm hoping we can get there, but it takes all 11 guys and every person on the sideline to make the team better and keep striving to that goal.
Perennial power Bangor has a smaller than usual senior class, just 8 guys. The Cardinals expect to be title contenders again this fall. Running back Tanner Jones returns to anchor the offense after a standout 2021. Nearly 800 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns in 6 games. Bangor is known for their ground game. The Cardinals are working every day on being fast and physical.
As long as they keep doing that, coming out here, working hard each week and looking to improve, even if it's just 1% in a practice, those small things are going to accumulate over a season.
I think our team is going to be very stout on both sides of the ball. I'm really excited to watch our backs do their thing. Our line's definitely going to step up, I believe, and I think both sides of the ball, we're just going to really hammer it.
Cashton is another Scenic Bluffs title contender. The Eagles went 10-3 last season, made it all the way to the state semifinals last year. They returned almost everybody from that team. 9 starters on offense, 8 on defense. That experience and talent has the Eagles ready to take flight again this fall.
I think the big thing was, we were playing a lot with emotions, and every game last year was just a new milestone for a lot of these kids. And this year, we're hoping now to put that, into play and, see what kind of run we can make here in postseason.
There's a lot of guys coming back. We're looking forward to having a very successful year, but we're taking it one game at a time and then building up to what could potentially be a run in the playoffs.
In the Dairyland, Melrose Mindoro coming off a 5-2 season in conference play and a playoff berth. The Mustangs lost a stable full of skill position players. Quarterback Braden Lockington will be asked to lead an inexperienced crew. Melrose Mindoro has finished 500 or better 8 seasons in a row. A big change for another perennial power, DeSoto. The Pirates, under longtime head coach Ev Wick, are making the switch to 8-man football this season. They will compete in the Southern West Conference. DeSoto has a remarkable playoff streak going. They've qualified for the postseason every year since 1996. Still more to come on Countdown to Kickoff. Stay with us. And welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. Minnesota schools beginning 2 weeks later than Wisconsin schools. Their season openers aren't until September 2nd. In Caledonia, the Warriors are looking for a bounce-back season after an un-Caledonia-like year last year. The Warriors were just 4-5, the first losing season for longtime head coach Carl Frichte. But the Warriors don't plan to stay down for long. A small but talented senior class is helping get some young guns up to speed.
Those were good kids, and they gave great effort, but something's just missing. It takes a little something extra, something a little special to be a state contender, to make that tournament. And hopefully our guys are learning from them last year, and we feel good. We've had good summer workouts, and we're excited about our kids.
I think we can be a lot tougher than last year. We've been working on a few of the smaller things, just critiquing ourselves and getting back to the way we used to be, I guess.
Caledonia opens the season at Pine Island on September 2nd. In the Crescent, Terry Donovan inherits a program that hasn't won a varsity game since October of 2017. Donovan brings energy and new style to the Lancers. They'll try the triple option offense. The players already noticing a different vibe.
I'm really excited to see what we can do together, and we had the Winona State camp, and we definitely really improved from last year.
I'm excited for a change. I feel like we obviously haven't been a very successful team in the past, and it was time for a change with coaching, plays, the attitude a little bit, the winning mentality.
And folks, that'll do it for Countdown to Kickoff. Stay with us every Friday night as we run down highlights and scores from all the big games on the Sports Overtime. Then catch the highlights again and game stories later on WXOW.com. Enjoy the Friday Night Lights, everyone.